The Ignite Conference was born first, before Ignite Youth. Ignite Youth is the youth ministry of our community, the Emmanuel community. Emmanuel is one of the new communities in the church, a charismatic community that was just born out of the action of the Holy Spirit 40 years ago. And it's been going along. So Emmanuel has always had a youth ministry. They've always had reaching out to their teenagers. But something happened around the turn of the century when I turned up in the late 90s, and there was the desire to get a band together and to write original music, because we were listening to a lot of music by Hillsong and a lot of the other big churches who were writing their own music, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool to do that? And actually I was telling a story earlier today where a group of us from Emmanuel Worship, the worship ministry here, we went down to Sydney to a conference with the Hillsong Church, a big Hillsong conference, and we got us inspired with a vision to come back and to give birth to something new in the Catholic Church that hadn't been done before. And so out of that visit to Hillsong Conference, we came back and we said, let's do this in the Catholic Church, and let's just start where we are. Let's start in Brisbane. So we had a dream of recording an album, which we hadn't done before. And so we started writing original songs for the first time. And we said, let's record a live album. And well, how are we going to do that? Well, let's run a conference where we can invite people to come so we can record the live album at the conference. And it'll be awesome. And we've never done this before, and this is scary. We hope it works, you know. So we had the first Ignite conference. It was meant to be a conference for creative arts and leadership, creative arts and youth. Was the focus, and it was a couple of hundred people in a school hall. It wasn't the bigger thing it is now. A couple of hundred people in a school hall, but we had these new songs which were birthed in our hearts, and I'll never forget the first album recording, which was at that first Ignite conference in 2001. And there was a song where we just, it broke through to a whole new level in the worship, and I remember people looking at each other going, something's just happened. Something just happened that was powerful. Something has started here. And it was around the same time that Emmanuel restarted a youth ministry. My wife, Kim, and I were asked by Shane Bennett, a leader in the renewal around the world. For many years, he invited my wife to oversee a youth ministry, a youth team for our community. And so they just started running Friday night youth group. But then that became so good that we realized you can't just have a small team, we need more people. So it now needs to become a youth ministry, and we called it Emmanuel Youth Outreach. So that was growing at the same time as the Ignite conference started. So the youth ministry was growing, the worship ministry was growing, just recorded our first album, and we felt like we can do something greater than has been done in the Catholic Church in our country. Let's keep going, let's keep growing this. And so we planned to run another Ignite conference, which we ran a year later. And the youth ministry kept growing, and the worship ministry kept growing and writing new songs. And we recorded a second album, and there was a momentum that began to build. And eventually that youth ministry, EYO we used to call it, which was run by my wife Kim Keaty and Luke Plant, who are now the coordinators of the Ignite conference, mind you. We built up an army of volunteers who had a vision for seeing this kind of ministry happen in our city and in our country and in our church. And more and more people heard about it and started coming. So 200 grew to 400, grew to 600, grew to 800. Slowly, year by year, more new songs coming about. And we started running summer camps and more events. And we started doing monthly rallies in our city with praise and worship, which continues today. And so somewhere around 2012, we decided, we had all these different names, and we said, we just need to put it all under one name because this is all coming from the same heart. So we said, we need to call this youth ministry Ignite Youth, after the name of the Ignite conference, which really is our big event, our big conference. And so now we continue to run Ignite conference every year, and it's having an impact around our nation and overseas. And we're really excited by that. God is obviously doing something that's bigger than us.
around and around. The Spirit's moving now, around and around, yeah. Oh, feel Him moving in your bones. Fire of heaven, take control. Who will go for me? Yeah, yeah. Who will go for me? Here I am, Lord. Send me, send me. Here I stand now, open-handed, I'm surrendered. Holding back nothing, I'm stepping up. Take my whole life now, I give it up. Who will go for me? Come on! Send me, send me. 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 Run! Cool is stronger now. The world is moving, keeps on moving. The need is greater now than ever before, like never before, yeah. 'Cause now's the time to claim this land. Saints of history, take your stand. Who will go for me? Yeah. Who will go for me? Let's sing it out. Here I am, Lord. Here I stand now, open-handed, I'm surrendered. Holding back nothing, I'm stepping up. Take my whole life now, I give it up. Who will go for me? Send me, send me. 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 To the ones lost in darkness, to the small, to the ones, to here we go. To the frail and forgotten, to the blind and the hard heart, oh, I will go, I will go. To the ones lost in darkness, to the small and the lonely, to the frail and forgotten, oh, I will go, I will go. To the wounded and sick, yeah, to the hurt and the struggling, to the blind and the hard, everybody sing it out. To the ones lost in darkness, to the frail and the lonely, to the frail and forgotten, I will go, I will go. To the wounded and sick, yeah, to the hurt and the struggling, to the blind and the hard heart, I will go, I will go. Here I am, Lord, sing it. Send me, send me, send me. Here I stand now, open-handed, I'm surrendered. Holding back nothing, I'm stepping up. Take my whole life now, I give it up. Who will go for me? Yeah, yeah. Who will go for me? Sing it out. Send me, send me. 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 the darkness, holy fear in me, great and mighty are you, Father, King of heaven, burn within me. Oh, Holy Spirit, come like a flood, deep within me, you fill me up. Holy Spirit, come like a flood, you fill me up. Closer to your kingdom, there in paradise, fill my heart, Lord. I am ready to give glory, so burn within me. Oh, Holy Spirit, like a flood, deep within me, you fill me up. Holy Spirit, come like a flood, you fill me up. Release in me the gifts of your holiness. Equip me to live a life free in the Spirit. The Spirit. Release in me the gifts of your holiness. Equip me to live a life free in the Spirit. Your Spirit, come on, sing it. Oh, Holy Spirit, come like a flood, deep within me, you fill me up. Holy Spirit, come like a flood, you fill me up. Come alive, come alive, come alive in all of us. Whoa, come alive, come alive, come alive.
She has been in ministry now for over 10 years. She's a mother of 3, incredible lady. She described herself as a simple soul with a heart for Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce, let you make some noise for their very own Laura Otto.
Wow, Heidi-ho! That's okay, when I say that, you guys gotta go Heidi-ho back at me. Are you ready? Let's try it again. Heidi-ho! Oh, so good. I think that would sound even better though if it was sung. Do you think we can give it a little go? I'm gonna sing, And you guys repeat after me, okay? You ready? Heidi, 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 ho. Heidi, 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 ho. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Heidi, 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 ho. Oh, so beautiful. Give yourselves a round of applause. You know what? Thank you. You just fulfilled one of my childhood dreams. So I really do thank you for that tonight. Now, as it was said, I've come all the way down from Rockhampton with my family yesterday. I'm married with a husband, obviously. His name is Michael, and I have 3 children. There's a boy who's Joseph, who's 5 years old. I've got a 3-year-old called Ignatius, and I've been blessed with a new little gorgeous baby girl called Emily. So I want to tell you the story now of a guy that I know. And this was someone who came somewhere and came for a reason, little did he know. So this man, he was at a place in his life where I guess he was pretty skeptical about God. He wasn't really sure if all this stuff was true, and I actually think he'd kind of given up on God and the church altogether in his life. He was also living his life at the time in a way that reflected this, you know, like there wasn't much meaning going on to what he was doing, and he really just didn't believe that there was anything going to be happening after his life, so he was partying it up, you know, trying to get the most out of this life that he could, but not in the best ways. Now, his mum was a really faithful woman. She loved God, and she really wanted her son to come to know God again. So she was a bit sneaky. She paid for him to go to this big God conference, not unlike this one. And one day she let him know. She's like, hey, I've paid for you to go to this conference. Please, can you go for me? Now, remember, this guy had pretty much given up on God in his life. But he thought, hey, Mum's paid hundreds of dollars for me to go to this thing. And he also figured, there's probably going to be some attractive women at this conference I get to hang out with over the next, few days. Why not? So, he found himself at this God conference, and over the course of the conference, his life was forever changed. He met Jesus in a real, tangible way, and he realized that this God stuff, that God really was true. And because of that, he felt he had to give his life then to God. If God was really real, then the only answer, the only thing I can do then is to give myself to God. So he felt that calling upon his life, and his life was changed from then on. A few short months later, he found himself on a youth ministry program called Net Ministries. I'm sure there's a number of netters in the audience, and you'll hear a lot more about that, meet some of them over the coming days. But this was where I met him, and we have now been married for 7 years. So I tell you what, I am so grateful to Michael's mum for paying for him to go to that conference all those years ago, because who knows, I may never have met him if he had not gone. And you never know what God has in store. It doesn't matter the reason why you came, as long as you come, he can use that. I mean, you never know. You could be sitting next to your future husband or wife right now. So, who knows? Who knows? I have another story now. This is the story of another man. Now, I don't know this guy personally, but I've read about his life in the Bible. This guy's name is Zacchaeus. Anyone heard of Zacchaeus before? Yeah, cool, awesome. Now, the Bible tells us a few things about Zacchaeus. The first thing that we know is that Zacchaeus is a tax collector. Now, I heard some oohs in the crowd. You know what I'm about to say. Ooh, tax collectors. That is exactly right. Back in Jesus' time, tax collectors, they were considered like the scum of the earth. And what they did, so they were Jews, but they collected money for the Romans, who were like the government. And so they were sort of considered like traitors because they were taking money from their own people to give to the Romans. And then not only that, they were considered quite corrupt as well, a little bit, greedy. So they'd take the money that the people owed the government, and then they'd also take a little bit extra and keep it for themselves, right? So scum of the earth. And Zacchaeus, he wasn't just a tax collector, he was a chief tax collector, like the head honcho. So he would have been considered like the scum of the earth, right? Okay, so you're starting to get a picture of who this guy was. Now, the second thing that the Bible tells us about Zacchaeus is that he was really short. Now, I'm not usually one to pay out on short people. Yes, I have big heels on. I'm not usually one to pay out, but Zacchaeus must have been really short. Because we hear in his story, what happens is one day, Jesus was coming to town. Now, Zacchaeus must have heard about Jesus. He must have known there was something going on with this guy, and he wanted to check him out. Wherever Jesus went, there were crowds that were following him. He was doing these amazing things and saying amazing, radical things. He had all these people following him. There must have been something different, something special about this man. And so Zacchaeus wanted to check it out too. But with the large crowds that had gathered around where Jesus was when he came to his town, he couldn't see. Remember, he was too short. So what does Zacchaeus do? Well, that's it. He runs on ahead and climbs a tree, as you do. But let's think about it. Zacchaeus isn't a little kid climbing a tree. I mean, we can imagine a little kid climbing up a tree to see what's going on. But no, Zacchaeus is a fully grown man. And not only that, he's the chief tax collector of the town. Like, this would be like a businessman climbing a tree. I mean, can you imagine what that would look like? Pretty silly, do you reckon? So he was risking looking rather foolish to climb up that tree. There we go, little picture of a businessman climbing a tree. Ridiculous, right? I mean, I can't even imagine. Imagine if your dad was wearing a suit trying to climb up a tree. Yeah, weird. Can't imagine it. So Zacchaeus would have looked really strange, but he did it. He took that step, and then do you know what happened? Everything changed. Let's read what the Bible has to say about it. So Zacchaeus was trying to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was short in stature. Remember what I said? Pretty short. Now, he ran on ahead and climbed a sycamore tree to see him because he was going to pass by that way. When Jesus came to the place, he looked up and he said to him, Zacchaeus. Whoa, he knows his name. How does he even know his name? I mean, other than the fact that he's God. But wow, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down because I am going to stay at your house today. Okay, can you imagine what Zacchaeus would have been feeling? I don't know about you, but if someone comes over unannounced to my house, I tend to freak out just a little bit. Usually, the house looks like a bomb hit it, and I'm more often than not in my pajamas, so tend to freak out. I usually get the kids to answer the door and go, hey kids, stall for a minute while I run and get changed, and then I'm like frantically trying to clean up the house, put things away, throw the dirty dishes in the sink. I get a little bit worried anyway. Now Zacchaeus, do you think he was worried about Jesus coming into this messiness of his life? What does it say he does? Oh, no. Zacchaeus hurried down. He was happy to welcome him. He was so glad to receive him. So he hurried down. But do you know what? Remember, there were all these crowds around. Like Zacchaeus couldn't even get close to Jesus. What do you think they said? Because remember, this is the scum of the earth that Jesus is talking to. Well, they said something like this. Oh my goodness. He has gone to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. Like what the? Something like that anyway. But oh my goodness, they were reacting. They would have been like, whoa, what is Jesus doing? Like, this is radical. Why is he hanging out with him? And Zacchaeus, he saw this and he stopped. And he said, look, half of my possessions, Lord, I will give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I will pay back 4 times as much. So let's recap. Zacchaeus is there. He climbs this tree to see Jesus. And I wonder if part of the reason why he climbed that tree was not only just to see Jesus, but maybe he was actually trying to hide a little bit. Maybe he knew that people considered himself as scum, and maybe he even knew within himself that he wasn't living the best life that he could be living. Maybe he didn't feel good enough to get close to Jesus. And so he climbs this tree to hide, but also because he was intrigued, because he was curious, because he wanted to come and check it out, just check out who this guy was. He took that step, he climbed that tree, and that was all Jesus needed. What did Jesus do? He didn't hold back. He didn't just wave or smile at Zacchaeus, hey bro, how you going? No. He called him by name, Zacchaeus, and he came into his life. He entered into the messiness of his life. It didn't matter to Jesus. None of that mattered. How Zacchaeus was feeling or the way that he was living his life, the messiness of his world at that time, none of it mattered because Jesus wanted to encounter Zacchaeus. Because Jesus loved Zacchaeus. And what happened? When we encounter Jesus, we can't help but be changed. Zacchaeus became a changed man. In that instant, in that encounter with the Lord, he was changed completely, forever. He gave away half of what he's... Remember, he was this greedy, corrupt tax collector. He gave away half of what he owned. That's the opposite of greedy, right? And then all those people that he'd ripped off, he paid back, and not just paid them back, but paid them back 4 times what he owed them. This man is a changed man. Because when we encounter Jesus, we can't help but be changed. We know what the world has to offer us. We see it every day in our lives. We live in what can seem sometimes a bleak place. Sometimes life can seem a bit hopeless when we look at what's going on in the world with acts of war and terrorism happening all over the place, with natural disasters happening right this very instant, with poverty everywhere. And closer to home, we see so many things going on in Australia alone. And not only that, we look at the kind of people that we are. I mean, think about it. We are a generation who are addicted to social media. We take pictures of every single thing that's going on and post it and hope so desperately that we're going to be liked, that people are going to see us, that we're going to be enough. And we're a people today who we just get so passionate for a cause. We want to make a difference. And sometimes we're shouting so loud that we're not even really sure what the truth is. We're a people who want to fight the injustices and the wrongs of this world. And yet, sometimes it's our own families that are hurting the most, that need love. Our world can seem confusing and broken and meaningless. And that's why Jesus came. Jesus came to the world to give us peace in our troubled world. Jesus came to show us the way, to give us meaning, and to show us what the real truth is. Jesus came because he wanted us to know there is hope, that he is the hope we need. Jesus came because he wanted us to know that we are part of the ultimate love story, the most wonderful, perfect love story that you will ever hear. He came to die and to rise again to show you that you are totally worth it, because he loves you so much, more than anyone on this earth ever could. God has come. He has come, and he now invites us to come.
At your feet, coming to you now. You're all I need. Every voice. You're all I need. When I come to you, I'll find you, and I know my heart will find your love, your grace abound. Every voice. Come alive in me. I can see you are the one I need. Come on, lift your voice. I will follow wherever you go. Your grace is an ocean. I found my hope. I'll find you, call into me now. Come set me free. Come set me free. Waters rise when I lose sight of everything your heart calls me to be. You're all I need. Call us by name, Lord. Come alive in me. And I can see you are the one I need. Every voice in this place. I will follow wherever you go. Your grace is an ocean, and I found my hope. calling us. Every person here tonight, you call us by name, Lord. You call us by name. We're here with a purpose, and we sing to you, God. Every voice in this place, come on. Find me when I'm drifting, breath of life in my sails. I'm chasing winds of mercy, changing all my life. You have been there waiting. Find me when I'm drifting, breath of life in my sails. I'm chasing winds of mercy, changing all my life. You have been.
And the waves and so, and the moon, the stars, and the great unknowns, and the sun and the light and the warm and the taste. We look to you, we look to you. In the high and the depth and the endless road, and the sounds and the noise and the undertones, in the space in the open road. We look to you, we look to you.
Sing with us.
You bring all things together. You make all our colors, and you are greater in numbers. We look to you, we look to you. And the restlessness, and the night and the fire and the blazing light. We look to you, we look to you, and you bring all things together.
show God how awesome He is. Come on.
You bring all things together, and you make all of the colors, and you were greater than numbers. We look to you, we look to you.
God, we acknowledge that You are present in this space tonight. We acknowledge as we gather in this space and as we sing, as we hear, as we experience, that You are truly present tonight. For some of us, Lord, this is the first time. For some of us, we've been here before. Tonight we give our yes. We give our yes to a God who creates the color. A God who is greater than numbers. Who brings all things together. Praise You.
This next song is called Come to the Water. It's a new one. Get excited about it, because we're excited about it. So you guys should be excited about it.
You call me just the way I am. You invite me in, call me friend. Prepare a table with my name. Wash my feet and sit me down. You speak of never-ending love. All sin forever overcome. You say You are a burning light. All darkness trembles at the sight. Nothing can separate this love You give today. This joy is flowing in my heart. Greater than all my faults. You give Your life and I'll give mine. There's no greater purpose than this. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and see what God has done for me. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and drink from living water springs. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and lay Your weary burdens down. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and see the wonders that God has done for me.
The narrow road.
The narrow road is my desire, to follow You with all my life. Your mercy's new each breaking day, and I claim Your promise on my way. Nothing can separate this love You give today. This joy is flowing in my heart. Greater than all my faults. You give Your life and I'll give mine. No greater purpose than this. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and see what God has done for me. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and drink from living water springs. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and lay Your weary burdens down. You say come, come, come. Come to the water. Come and see the wonders that God has done for me. He has done great things for us. He has done great things for us. He has opened up blind eyes to see His wonders. He has done great things for us. He has done great things for us. He has opened up blind eyes to see what God has done for me. Sing it.
You say, come, come, come.
Come to the water, come and drink from living water springs. Oh, you say, come, come, come. Come to the water, come and lay your weary burdens down. You say, come, come, come. Come to the water, come and see the wonders that God has done for me. He has done great things for us. He has done great things for us. He has opened our blind eyes to see His wonders. He has done great things for us. He has done great things for us. He has opened our blind eyes to see His wonders. You say, come.
I think you know this one now. Once is enough, yeah? But you know how to go crazy?
Turn up loud, here to make the earth move. Jesus' soul never felt like this before. Breaking free. Are you ready? Are you ready? Sing with me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Raise your hands, chosen life in you. Take a stand, God will be our one desire. Breaking free, are you ready? Are you ready? Sing with me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Go! Singing freedom, falling into you, we lift our eyes.
you guys both from?
I'm from Virginia in the States.
I'm from Georgia in the States.
Nice. And like, why are you guys here?
We're here serving with Net Ministries, and through that we're serving with Ignite, volunteering.
Yeah, we're pretty much the same thing as with that.
Awesome. And how are you guys liking Ignite so far?
I love it. It's amazing.
So good. It's both my first time, and it's been like so good. The energy is like amazing. Really tired, but also like really energized. It's awesome.
That's so great. Thank you so much for answering those questions. Danny, how many times have you been to Ignite conference?
My second conference.
Your second conference. And where are you from?
Kingaroy.
And how did you find out about Ignite?
My dad's been to this conference a couple of times, and last year I found out about the dance team, and I was on that.
Oh, that's awesome. And how would you say Ignite has had the biggest impact on your life?
It's definitely changed me for the better. I've had Jesus come into my life, and it's the greatest thing I've ever started.
So where are you from, Dom?
I'm from Brisbane.
And what has brought you here?
I serve in the manual worship.
Oh, so you're in the band. That's awesome. Do you play drums or what? Guitar, sing?
I play guitar and I sing.
That's awesome, Dom. So how many Ignite conferences have you been to so far?
My first one was 2012. So 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Geez, seven. That's so many. And Dom, how has Ignite conference, like just all of them, like how has it impacted or changed your life in any way?
Well, the first conference I ever went to was the first time I really surrendered my life fully to Jesus. And since then it's just kind of been just going a little bit deeper every time. I find it very good to be able to serve, but also like serving space for Christ, putting Him at the center, making Him the center of everything I do, and that's yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of talk in our church today about the new evangelization, and we might ask, well, what's new about the new evangelization? One thing that's new is that we're trying to renew the faith in people who should already be Catholic, should already be Christian. Individuals, families, communities, whole cultures that need to rediscover the gospel. And so what's new is that they're getting a new shot in the arm of faith, of evangelization. Another thing that's new about it is the way that we do that. And the new media and groups like Shalom World TV are very important for bringing the gospel anew to our cultures, to our families, to each of us individually. And so I encourage all the viewers of Shalom World TV, and I encourage Shalom World TV themselves to keep up the good work, to keep watching this channel and to keep up the good work of presenting the Catholic faith to our world today.
Shalom World, God's own channel.